For months now, this program has been illustrating how government has descended into organized crime. Leftists from both political parties don't let anything stand in their way of absolute, unchallenged power. The USA in dire need of heroes. That's our analysis in today's preamble. Ahead of the Memorial Weekend, when we remember the heroic actions of those who risked their lives so we can remain free, it's fair to examine how certain politicians have taken that freedom purchased with the blood and suffering of patriots and have abused their voters, abused the system and their positions in an effort to undermine the very freedom that gave them their authority. The DOJ is illegally commanding the Internal Revenue Service, which doesn't have to comply, by the way, to fire those investigating Joe Biden's cokehead son for multiple tax violations. Newt Gingrich says this corruption is far worse than anything we witnessed in the Watergate scandal. In defiance of a legal subpoena, in the meantime, Christopher Wray, the disgraced FBI director, is refusing to hand over unclassified documents reportedly detailing a criminal scheme launched by Joe Biden to trade foreign cash for American policy. These breaches of law and the public trust are now going unpunished. While the leftist regime in Washington breaks the law with impunity, their lieutenants in blue states and cities unleash a crime wave on the United States of America unseen in recent memory. Adding insult to injury, after unleashing that crime wave onto our people, the Democrats used the resulting carnage as a mechanism to blame law-abiding American citizens and their right of self-defense in order to rob us of our God-given constitutional right of self-defense with firearms. They say it with a straight face. After all of their gun restrictions have proven only to increase violent crime, they insist more restrictions will do the trick. In essence, left-wing extremists in the Democrat Party, they want to disarm you, and then they want to do nothing to protect your life. The same dynamic is at play in the states. In my home state of Texas, pro-Democrat House Republican leadership killed overwhelmingly supported legislation like school choice. A Democrat Morning News poll showed that the vast majority of all parties in Texas, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, support parental school choice. But the left-wing GOP leadership joined all socialists and killed parental rights anyway. The same left-wing Republicans placed a ban on the teaching of the hate whitey theory, critical race theory in Texas schools, yet they provided no mechanism to enforce their worthless law. Thus, unaccountable GovEd does whatever the hell it wants, and Texas Republican House leadership made sure parents are helpless, defenseless to protect their own children from all of this lawlessness, much like Joe Biden and the Democrats do, unleashing criminals and then taking away Americans' right to protect ourselves. The Texas House GOP leadership also killed a bill that would have prevented America's enemies like China, Iran, and Russia from buying land in the Lone Star State. Apparently, China's need to spy on our military installations, control our food supply, and gain a foothold in America is more important to the Texas House GOP leadership than protecting Texans and Americans. Now, if this all sounds kind of crazy, it should. I mean, one would have to be seriously impaired to run a state like this.
Mr. Speaker, I move adoption.
Mr. Campbell sent out amendment. The amendment is acceptable to the author. Is there objection to the opposite amendment? And the chair has none. The amendment is adopted. The chair recognizes Mr. Johnson of Harris. Mr. Johnson of Harris to speak in opposition to the bill.
It's not right. You want Niave? Chair recognizes Ms. Niave Criado to speak in opposition.
The chair recognizes Ms. Niave Criado to speak in opposition to the bill.
Thank you, Ms.
That was just 44 seconds of 6 minutes of video that's circulating out there, showing the Speaker of the Texas House impaired in some way. It's my understanding that more video is out there surfacing, allegedly showing these so-called Republicans in various states of impairment. It was because of the anti-American legislative priorities pushed by the Texas House leadership and the display you just witnessed that led Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton to call for Speaker Dade Phelan's resignation. Immediately after Paxton called for that, in a move that can only be construed as political revenge, Speaker Phelan and his left-wing lieutenants arranged a hearing drudging up nearly decade-old allegations to impeach one of the most effective and stalwart conservatives standing in the breach against Obama and Biden's attacks on our people. The cowards who launched this attack are the same ones who accused Paxton of wrongdoing when he first won the AG's race over 8 years ago. He beat a Bush Surrender Caucus Republican. And for that sin, the long knives of the Republican establishment have been out for Ken Paxton ever since. In fact, Paxton can't seem to get his day in court after many of the initial allegations had been dropped due to their absurdity. The ones that remain are just hanging around out there. Now, we as Americans have a right to a speedy trial, courtesy of the sellouts in the old Ann Richards Republican Party. The Texas Attorney General has been denied that right. To prove to you that this impeachment is every bit as political as the ones launched against President Trump, the so-called Republicans in Texas, like Charlie Guerin of Fort Worth and David Spiller of Brownwood, they wouldn't even allow Ken Paxton or his attorney to speak in their own defense. Tell me, is it American to accuse someone of wrongdoing and then not allow them to speak in their own defense? Dictators do that. Communists do that. But real Americans don't do that. Preventing the accused from speaking, does that sound legitimate to you? Or does it sound like what it is? A corrupt railroad job designed to cover for illegal activity conducted by lesser men?
The process here has been completely lacking. They deserve to hear, the people deserve to hear from this office in the context of this investigation. Furthermore, this is an illegal investigation. Any discussion of impeachment is completely foreclosed by Texas law. Texas Government Code 665.081 says clearly that any proposed impeachment can only be about conduct since the most recent election. The voters have spoken. They want Ken Paxton.
That's right. Millions of Texans have voted and seen through the lies that have been told about Mr. Paxton over almost a decade. He trounced his socialist opponent in the last election by double digits. Ken Paxton has the trust of those who believe it's the GOP's job to stop the harm that is being done to this country by socialists in the Democrat Party. Ken Paxton's only crime is that he won an election that was against the establishment's wishes. President Trump has been under constant attack from these same kind of Republicans like Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, and John Cornyn. Why? Because President Trump believes in opposing socialist Democrats, not enabling them. To be frank, Trump ruined the illusion. Trump demanded that Cornyn and company actually vote to stop all the harm being done to America by socialists. And the Senate GOP leadership hates him for it. So too is it with Ken Paxton. While the Texas House GOP leadership was busy delivering for China, delivering for socialists and the deviants in Gov Ed in the legislative session, Paxton was busy being a conservative and opposing Democrats rather than doing their bidding and passing their priorities, China's priorities. Sellouts are never heroes, and those who harm our people, deny us liberty, and aid our enemies define what a sellout is. I get emails all the time from all of you asking me, hey, what can we do to stop the destruction of our nation ushered in by Democrats and facilitated by supporters in the GOP? Well, the one thing you can do is support the heroes out there before there aren't any left.